Here's how Israel assassinated the most powerful man in all of Hezbollah, Hassan Nasrallah. A truly wild story because for many years, Nasrallah was an untouchable man. This guy was like a ghost, hard to track and impossible to reach. However, Israel, being the kind of nation it was, didn't care about that. Mossad and the Israeli military were always moving in the shadows while waiting for the perfect time to strike, which eventually they did get. Now, you've got to understand who Nasrallah was. Hassan Nasrallah was born into a humble family in the 1960s, and by the 1990s, he was chosen to lead Hezbollah. Nasrallah wasn't just some run-of-the-mill leader when he came into power. He was the face, the brain, and the spirit of Hezbollah. A guy who led them through countless battles, wars, and political triumphs. This man was respected and feared, and under his leadership, Hezbollah went from a ragtag militia to a force that rivaled entire armies. Hezbollah didn't just fight on the battlefield, they had their fingers in politics too, a whole network of underground operations and smuggling. But with that kind of power, you're always being watched. In Israel, they watched everything, every moment, every speech, and every rally. The problem with being such a high-profile leader is that eventually, someone's gonna figure out how to get to you. Here's where things get crazy. Nasrallah wasn't Israel's first target, as Hezbollah was responsible for many attacks on Israeli soldiers and civilians over the years while under different regimes. And so he knew the game well, because he had already seen his close associates get taken out one by one. One of the most well-known assassinations was his top military commander, Imad Mughniyeh. Mughniyeh was a mastermind and the big brain behind all of Hezbollah's military operations. He wasn't just fighting on the front lines, he was organizing complex attacks which included bombings, kidnappings, and even military raids. In 2008, Mughniyeh met a brutal end. He was in the streets of Damascus in Syria and probably thought he was in a safe place, regardless of the fact that the Israeli intelligence agency, Mossad, and also the CIA have been tracking him for years. Unknown to him, they had successfully infiltrated his safe haven, planted a car bomb in his SUV, and with a big boom just like that, he was gone. This was no random hit, rather a perfectly timed and well-executed operation. Israeli intelligence agencies had studied his every move, knew where he would be, and made sure the bomb would only take him out, leaving no other casualty or trace behind. The assassination of Imad Mughniyeh sent shockwaves throughout Hezbollah, and Nasrallah knew that if they could get to his right-hand man the way they did, then it wouldn't be long before they could also get to him. And so his next move was to go underground, literally. Nasrallah had already survived many assassination attempts before, and so he knew the drill. In an attempt to disappear from the face of the earth, Nasrallah hid himself in an underground bunker in Beirut, which was not just some makeshift hideout. This was a state-of-the-art underground bunker. The bunker was designed to withstand airstrikes, had advanced security, and was meant to be completely impenetrable. It was a fortress. But here's the thing, when you disappear like that, people don't forget about you. Mossad, Israel's intelligence agency, certainly did not. Mossad played the patience game and weren't quick to rush things. They took their time to gather intelligence, track Nasrallah's movements, analyze patterns. When they finally saw the opportunity to pounce, they did so with utmost accuracy. They were able to piece together bits of information, although it wasn't easy because Hezbollah was very secretive, paranoid even. Eventually, through a combination of phone tapping, satellite surveillance, and informants, Israel narrowed down the whereabouts of Nasrallah's hideout. The big break Mossad had been waiting for came through when they found out that Nasrallah's bunker wasn't as secure as he thought. There was actually a vulnerability in the structure, a weak spot within that could be penetrated from the outside. Israel now had the key to cracking open the underground fortress, but there was a tricky part to it. Beirut was a densely populated city, and so you couldn't just drop bombs everywhere. The Israeli military had to be precise because the plan wasn't to flatten a neighborhood. They just wanted Nasrallah and Nasrallah alone. So they turned to what they normally do best, precision strikes. Israel's military tech came into play. They equipped their jets with bunker-busting bombs, and these weren't just regular bombs. They were created to penetrate deeply into underground bunkers, bypassing layers of concrete and steel. Nasrallah thought he was safe, but these bombs were designed to hit hidden targets like him. And when the moment finally came, the Israeli jets took off under the cover of darkness with their target locked in. Nasrallah's underground headquarters. The strike was fast, calculated, and terrible. The bombs did hit their target mark, and in an instant, the bunker that was supposed to be Nasrallah's safe haven became his graveyard. The explosion shook Beirut to its core, and the people weren't sure what had happened at first. Hezbollah tried to cover up the incident that caused the death of their leader. They had always been good at keeping things under wraps, and for a while, they denied that Nasrallah had been killed. Eventually, word that the untouchable leader of Hezbollah, Hassan Nasrallah, was no more had quickly spread out like a wildfire. It wasn't just the loss of Nasrallah that hit Hezbollah hard, it was the psychological impact. Israel had proven that even someone as protected and well hidden as Nasrallah could be reached. They had taken out the heart of Hezbollah's leadership, and everybody knew it. This wasn't the first time Israel had pulled off something like this. It was part of a long-running strategy. Years before, in 1992, Israel had assassinated Sheikh Abbas al-Massawi, Hezbollah's former leader, in a targeted airstrike. He was killed along with his wife and son when Israeli helicopters fired missiles at his convoy. The message was clear back then, and it remained the same with Nasrallah. No matter how powerful you are, no matter how protected, Israel can reach you. Hezbollah, though, is no stranger to loss. Over the years, they've seen key leaders and commanders fall, but Nasrallah's death shook them to the core. He wasn't just a military leader, he was a symbol. He represented resistance, defiance, and the fight against Israel. To lose him was to lose a huge part of Hezbollah's identity. Of course, Israel didn't just stop with Nasrallah. They've been systematically dismantling Hezbollah's leadership for years. Another big name, Mustafa Bedreddin, one of Hezbollah's top military strategists. He was killed in 2016, also under mysterious circumstances. Israel didn't officially claim responsibility, but everyone knew who was behind it. It was a pattern, targeting the top figures and weakening the organization from the inside out. The bigger picture here for Israel using this form of strategy wasn't just about taking out individual leaders. It was also about breaking down Hezbollah's command structure, leaving them disoriented and without direction. They knew that if they could take out the head, the body would follow, and with their key figures gone, Hezbollah would be forced into a defensive situation, constantly trying to replace leaders while also dealing with the loss of morale. It goes without saying that assassinations do come with consequences. Every hit, every bombing brings with it a ripple effect which in the end could spark a retaliation. Hezbollah, despite its losses, is still very much alive. They've adapted, gone underground, more so than before, and become even more secretive. The region remains a powder keg, always on the brink of exploding. The death of Hassan Nasrallah really didn't stop the war from going on. It worsened situations for both Hezbollah, Israel, and probably the whole world. In the end, the whole plan wasn't just about the death of one man. It was a symbol of the current strife of power and of a fight between both sides that's been blazing for years with no signs of ever coming to an end. Hezbollah may have made it through their tragic situation, but Israel definitely made it clear by proving to them over and over again that even the most powerful and well-hidden man or woman can be reached wherever they may hide. The nation of Israel took out the greatest leader Hezbollah has ever had since its formation by intelligence gathering, precision, patience, and of course, possibly spying agents involved. They showed the Middle East and the whole world that no one is truly untouchable, not even a man as powerful as the infamous Hassan Nasrallah.